Oriire funo, good tidings to you. I pray that you're feeling awake, aware, and elevated in mind, body, and spirit, wherever you are, and whatever may be happening around you. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. I'm Baba Umar, Oluranse Emese, voice of the MSA, member of the Isoro Traditional Council of Chiefs in Ile-Ife, Nigeria, Oluwo of the House of Umar, and Babalao of Ile-Ife Orisa, the House of the Mysteries of the Orisa. Oriire, abundant blessings to our Egbe, our online community of subscribers that continues to grow thanks to you. Thank you for joining us for another lesson. Remember, as a member of our YouTube Egbe, you can support each other's spiritual journey by posting your questions and uplifting comments in the comment section below. You can also email me using the link in the description below if you need to contact me on a more personal matter. Also, check the community section of this channel for periodic messages from me. If you're new to these video lessons, we invite you to go ahead and click the subscribe and notification buttons and share this resource with your family, friends, and associates. You never know whose life you may change by the simple act of sharing. Homage to the one who sends and to those who are sent. Homage to Orisa and Egun. Our topic for this video is Not Just Black and White, Part 5. I think this is going to be the last part that we do on this series now. Maybe at some point in the future, we'll take it up, especially if I get questions from you about the subject. But for now, let's see if we can wrap this up with Part 5. Now, remember the wisdom that we gained in Part 1 of this series in the sacred Odu Ogbe Ofun, the 45th Odu, speaking about why Olofi-dumare created 3 groups of humans to do 3 kinds of things on earth. Aboru Aboye. Ifa was cast for Orunmila when coming from heaven to earth. It was also cast for Omo Eniyan when they were categorized into 3 groups: those who have come to achieve on earth, those who have come to accompany the achievers, and those who have come to watch things happen. They were also coming to do 3 things on earth. They were coming to do good, they were coming to do evil, they were coming to do neither good nor evil. Ifa was cast for Agboni Regun when he was going from earth to heaven and was going to inquire from Olofi-dumare why he had created 3 categories of Eniyan who would be doing 3 kinds of things on earth at the same time. Agboni Regun said that, quote, there was no way the 3 creatures would not confront one another, and when they did, there would be casualties. Olofi-dumare replied that this was a way of knowing human attitudes, human attributes. Okay? And remember what we learned from Odu Irosu Iwori, the 78th Odu, when we spoke about our sacred contract with Olofi-dumare to bring about the good condition in the world for every human being. Aboru Aboye. One day, all kinds of people, good people and those who do not allow good in other people's lives, gathered together. They then went to Orunmila. They said, "Coming back and forth to earth tires us, Orunmila. Therefore, please let us rest in heaven." Orunmila replied, "No, there's no resting in heaven until you figure out how to bring about the good condition for every human being." Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. Let's put a couple of definitions to the subject matter of this short series that we've done. What is the white supremacy doctrine? Well, simply, it is the belief that so-called white people constitute a superior race and should therefore dominate society, typically to the exclusion or detriment of other racial and ethnic groups. It is based on the false beliefs and ideas purporting natural superiority of the lighter-skinned or the so-called white race over other so-called racial groups. Now remember, this is a flip-flop, because remember what happened when the Oyinbo first left the African continent. It was the dark-skinned people who were feeling superior to the light-skinned people, the Oyinbo. Okay. White supremacy is an historically based, institutionally perpetuated system of exploitation and oppression of continents, nations, and peoples of color all around the world. That's what we're talking about. What is the manifest destiny doctrine? Manifest destiny is a phrase coined in 1845. It's the idea that the United States is destined to expand its dominion and spread democracy and capitalism across the entire North American continent to start with. But then the idea expands beyond that. It's the concept of manifest destiny has been a blessing for some, a curse for others. It's rooted in the assumption that the United States is destined by God to expand its borders with no limit to area or country. And that's exactly what we see happening in the world today, and has been happening for the past centuries. Let's go back to Oyeku Meiji. Another translation of Oyeku Meiji, we mentioned another translation in the last video. Go back and check that out. In this particular section, we're talking about Oyeku Meiji, meaning or translated as Oyeiku, the wisdom of death. This Odu teaches us the meaning of death. The person that for whom this is divined, and in this instance we're talking about the Oyinbo, the person for whom this is divine is driven by ambition, but must be careful not to go overboard. The Oyinbo, the European, the so-called white race, not all, remember, discernment, we're not talking about all, but speaking in general terms, they are driven by ambition and clearly have gone overboard in terms of what has been ordained for them. So why did I start this short but immensely important series about talking about the role of discernment in your and my process of healing the world? So often people ask, how can a righteous God allow so much evil to happen in the world? It's a fair question. The question, though, reflects a complete misunderstanding or limited understanding of Ifa. Would you also ask, why would God allow stars, planets, meteors, trees, and plants, and all kinds of animals to die? Don't you see that when they die, they also come back in the same or a different form? So it depends, if you're not discerning, then you interpret death as some kind of a final episode, in the book, the final chapter of a book. But it's not a final chapter. Remember the Ifa saying, Ifa ni ba wo aye shishe. Ifa is how the universe works. This is not just a fanciful statement. Rather, it is a statement of fact and profound wisdom. We are here to experience, to choose, to learn, to grow, and transform into the highest versions of who and what we are. We are here to demonstrate to ourselves that we are wise enough and that our hearts are expansive enough to be stewards of this world and other multidimensional realities. And all of us, each of us, including the Oyinbo, are playing an important part in the process of divine transformation. Remember, binary universe, you have to have some up in order to have some down. You got to have some right in order to have some left. You got to have some hard in order to have some soft. You got to have the good and the bad. They travel together. So each is playing its role in the process of divine transformation. Let's look at Odu Otura Owonrin, the 160th Odu, to make this point. This Odu is speaking about Olofi-dumare's interest in the world and the activities of humans and the fact that he frowns on wickedness. Okay? Aboru Aboye. The omniscient one knows those who wickedly shoot others. People of the farm know people of the town. Travelers of the earth and travelers of heaven, we will see each other again. Termites do not scatter without reassembling. This was divine for us human beings who are mourning for the dead. The people of the earth are returning to where they came from. What are the tears for? What is sorrow for? What is lifting oneself up and down for? What is fasting for? He who sends us to go is he who calls us to come back home. That which pleases us on earth do not please Edumare. The people of the earth sit on earth and they do evil. Edumare does not like it. Edumare does not accept it. Well then, if I say go, you go. If I say come, you come. If a child does not know his father, the earth is not right. Death is the one who takes a child to know heaven. Let me comment here. The Oyinbo do not know their father. They do not remember the source from which they come. That's the problem. They've forgotten who and what they are. They've made up all other kinds of stories about their place and purpose in the world. And that is why they act the way that they do. Continuing. Who is thinking about Edumare? If there were no Eshu, who would think of the poor? Everyone is thinking of himself. They are looking for food and drink. Mystery of darkness. A child does not know his father. Speak to me, that I may speak to you. By our voices, we recognize each other in the darkness. If a child does not know his father, the earth is not right. Excuse me. The sacrifice. 4 white pigeons, 4 ewes, 8,000 cowrie. They herd and sacrificed so that they might live long on earth and might see goodness and blessings. Ashe, Ashe, isha'ro, aboru aboye, otora owunrin, the 160th Odu. Powerful. It is not Olofi-dumare who is allowing manifest evil to take place on earth. Olofi-dumare is the architect of the world. It is Olofi-dumare who has laid out the laws by which the creation shall be governed and sustained. And it is the Irunmole, the extraterrestrial celestial beings who know the creation and the earth. They are the ones who carry out and orchestrate Olofi-dumare's creation. But it is you and me that are the co-creators of our reality. What is going on in our world is because of our choices, because of what we choose to do and choose not to do. When we accept the truth that we are the ones that are co-creating this reality, we can change our experience in the world and bring about the good condition for every human being. We must not allow ourselves to become overwhelmed and give up on doing the work of Ifa. The call to Iwa-Pele must go out to every human being, including the Oyinbo. Then, after the call has been made, let each of us choose to go right or left, forward or backward, up or down, in or out, and we will all live and experience the consequence of our choices. My objective in presenting this series on the Oyinbo and white supremacy racism was and is to give you the opportunity to raise your vibration above the negative energies of hatred and to cleanse your heart of feelings of murderous retribution. I'm not talking about liking or loving what the Oyinbo are doing, what some of the Oyinbo are doing in the world. Not talking about loving or liking or accepting the harsh treatment, and that's an understatement, that peoples of color around the world have received at the hands of many of the Oyinbo. I want to help you to see the wisdom of Olofi-dumare's creation and plan, and to realize that we cannot change our circumstance or our world by adding negative energy to negative energy. Instead, we must overwhelm the negative with the positive power of our Iwa-Pele and cast out the darkness of the delusion of white supremacy racism by manifesting the brightness of our spiritual light and wisdom. That is our role as practitioners of Ifa. That is our role as devotees of the way in which the universe works. You have much more power than you think. Use it. Let me know what you gained from this series. We'll end there. Again, maybe the subject will come up again. But in the meantime, I pray that something of these 5 lessons on Ifa and white supremacy racism has touched you in your mind and in your heart and giving you a new way of approaching the difficulties that we as peoples of color have faced and are facing in the world, and the challenges that are confronting even the Oyinbo, because they too are subject to the hypnosis of social conditioning. Many of them, dare say most of them, don't have a clue what's really going on in their lives. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. Ki Olu-Dumare Oriire ati egun, fifone ni, itone, imoye, ati Irire. May Olu-Dumare Oriire and Egun bestow on you guidance, wisdom, and understanding and abundant blessings. Ifo Kanbele, peace of mind from Olu-Dumare. Ajo Lo, Ajo Bo. We go out together, we return together. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo.